Hi, good evening everybody. I'm your host, Sue Davis, hosting the show, Ask Sue, show on Cosmic Radio. My special guest tonight is Mr. Colin Fry, who doesn't really need a very big introduction, but here I am so glad that he's been able to help us out tonight. Right, so I'm just going to cut the part where we introduce. I'm just going to go straight to Colin. Hi, Colin.
Good evening, Sue. How are you, dear?
I'm much better for speaking to you.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's always nice to feel you've made someone happy during the day.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I couldn't find a better host to start, the better person to start the show with me. So, and I know a lot of people were really looking forward to hearing you on the show tonight.
Well, that's very nice to hear.
Good, good. Right, so Colin, I don't know where to start. There's so many questions I'd like to ask you.
Well,
so,
as the words from the Song, the Sound of Music says, it's best to start at the beginning.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, obviously you've been doing the psychic world for quite a while now. How many years is it?
Oh, I've been a working medium now for 35 years, but I've been doing the national and international tours now for, coming up 11 years.
Right, right. So a long time.
Yeah. I mean, before television came along for me, I did quite a lot of international travelling. I did 3 trips to Australia. I was invited out to Japan in 1994 by the Japanese Spiritualist Society. So I went out to Japan in '94, and so I'd done quite a lot of travelling before, before television, and of course had been travelling up and down the country for many, many years, serving the spiritualist centres and spiritualist churches in this country, and running a healing clinic. So yes, it's been a busy and active 34 years.
Yes, definitely. Is there anywhere, Colin, obviously you've been to some very beautiful places, I'm sure, and all over the world. Is there anywhere that you haven't been yet that you'd like to go?
Not work-wise, but on a private level, I'd like to go to Bali.
So you do realise now that when it's in the newspaper that you're going on a private holiday, we're all going there.
Well, this happened a few years back. My partner and I decided that, we would have a big holiday. And I said, let's go to Brazil. No one will know me in Brazil. And, like a lot of people, I have a bit of a phobia. I don't like heights very much. And I thought, well, I cannot go to Rio de Janeiro and not go on the cable car up Sugarloaf Mountain. And there's my partner and I, and we're in this cable car going up to Sugarloaf Mountain. I'm absolutely terrified, I have to point out. And in this crowded cable car, all of a sudden this Yorkshire accent came from the back of the cable car. Don't be so bleeding stupid, woman. What's Colin Fry going to be doing in a cable car halfway up Sugarloaf Mountain?
Oh, my goodness.
So,
and is that something you're still scared of, the heights, Colin?
I don't like heights very much, no. And yet flying doesn't bother me in the slightest. But no, I don't like heights very much.
Right.
I'm not over fond of rodents either.
Right. Is there a reason for that, or is it just something that's always been with you?
No, I just don't like heights very much.
Is there a story behind any of them?
No, I just don't like heights very much. I mean, I know there's always the chance that a plane will crash, but at least you're contained within something.
Absolutely. So I was reading on your Facebook just the other day on your status, and it was saying that you're considering or possibly doing so, having a sort of a life change really for you, in the sense of that you've been travelling most.
My life tends to go in 10-year stages. My work as a medium and as a healer, certain aspects seem to be really important for 10 years, and then I change direction, or there seems to be like a new twist to it. And I'll be honest with you. When I was sort of a little bit reluctantly thrown into the limelight. When I was first offered television, I actually turned it down 3 times. I really didn't see the benefits of going on to television. And I remember when the first production company came to me to discuss me making what ultimately became The Sixth Sense, my TV series, I say here in the UK, but it's been shown in over 60 countries. And I had this long list of things I will not do. And I was like, it started to reel off this list of, if you expect me to do this, you can forget it, and I'm not going to do that. And, and anything that makes, mediumship look stupid or anything, I'm not in the slightest bit interested. And I've got sort of started reeling off this list, and they stopped me and they said, no, you don't understand. We want to build this program around what you do. That was on a Thursday. I agreed to make a pilot with them on the Saturday, and it was taken into the then commissioning editor at Living TV, and the whole thing was signed, sealed, and dusted by the following week, and it happened very, very quickly. And I thought, well, it'll be a bit of fun. I'll make this 20-episode series that they want me to do, and it'll get broadcast, and it'll probably have a minimal interest, and it'll be a bit of fun, and then I can get back to doing what I do, which is working as a medium and running my healing clinic. And within the week of it first showing, the response was just phenomenal. It was broadcast 5 days a week, initially for a month, and it was halfway through the second week when I got a phone call from the production company saying Living TV want another series of 40 episodes, and they want it straight away. And we ended up making, I think it was 160 episodes of The Sixth Sense, which then led on to making 2 series of Psychic Private Eyes, various TV specials. Then a couple of years later, we were asked to make Colin Fry Live, and I then went to New Zealand and made a TV series in New Zealand, and then last year I made a TV series in Norway. So what I initially thought would be sort of something very short-lived has gone on for 10 years. But I'm now at the stage where I'm just thinking, I'm a few weeks short of 50 now, and I'm just thinking that I need to get back to doing more up-close and personal stuff, more private sittings, more of the churches than I've been able to do in recent years, and I'm hoping that by the end of the year I'll be able to reopen my healing clinic as well.
Yeah, I see that on your Facebook status you wanted somebody to build a health centre in your garden.
Well, at my old house I had a centre built at the bottom of my garden.
Right.
And I'm just thinking now that if I'm going to see people, and run a healing clinic, I'm going to have another centre. Right.
So is it all hands to deck, and everybody can name a brick of the health centre, maybe?
Oh, I don't do DIY, love. No, I'm useless at DIY. No. I have the ideas, and somebody has to do it for me, because no.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody should recognise what they can do and acknowledge what they can't do, And
Absolutely.
nails and hammer, paintbrushes and paint are a mystery to me.
Absolutely. So you've mentioned your 50th birthday. Have you got any parties, or are you having a quiet one?
No, I was going. I didn't make a huge fuss of my 40th, and I was going to for my 50th, and I just thought, there's no point to it. It's just, no, I'm not going to make a big thing of it.
Oh, that's a shame. I was going to just send you my address for the invite. Oh, my goodness. So, are you actually going to be... I know everybody's wanting to know this after seeing it on your Facebook. So are you going to cut back your touring to a degree from this year, or...
No. I mean, we've got a fairly fully booked tour for this year, and then later this year I'm also doing a very limited engagement tour with my friend Mr. Derek Okora.
Right.
Which we've called the Living Spirits Tour, as we both started had our big success over the course of the last 10 years through Living TV. We just thought we'd have a little bit of a play on words there, and we've called it the Living Spirits Tour. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm very good friends with Derek and his lovely wife Gwen, and we always work well together, Derek and I, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And there's a little project in the offing for next year that will involve 3 of us that have worked together before, but I can't say too much about that at the moment. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not going to stop touring completely, but I'm thinking that maybe it's time to cut it down now. I'm getting a little bit too old to be living out of a suitcase 160 nights a year.
Absolutely. And a bit more time for you and Mike.
Well, that would be nice, but I've got a very low boredom threshold. When we get breaks, I just think, oh great, I'm going to have a break, and then about 4 days into the break, I start getting like impatient and I want to start working again. So
yeah, itchy feet.
So I'm not very good at this rest thing. I know I should be, but I'm not.
Yeah, absolutely. So where did you first start with the psychic? But did you always have the psychic abilities, or?
According to my mother, I gave my first message when I was 4 years old.
Right.
And then I think my mother took a very healthy attitude. She never discouraged it, but she never over-encouraged it. And then when I got to about 13, when she sort of began to recognise it was something that wasn't going to go away, she sort of tentatively started to encourage me. And then when I was 15, I got into a development circle, and it just seemed to be that I seemed to be meeting people that were sort of helping to steer me down that path. And I joined a development circle, and the old lady that was helping me to develop, she took me out on platform with her for the first time when I was 17. Even though I've been a working medium for a very, very long time, I didn't turn professional until 17 years ago. I had a very successful career in retail management. I worked in department store management and then carpet warehouse management. And I'd always said that I wouldn't turn professional. And it was really only the passing of my adopted brother that made me turn professional.
Right.
Hello?
Go to the Spiritualist Church. Quite a few people are amazed that you take your children to it. Because some children don't understand it, or their parents have not let them get involved into it.
Well,
is there anything
I
you
maybe
can...
have a slightly controversial view over this, because my attitude is that, I get lots and lots of letters and emails, inquiries from parents and saying, I think I've got a psychic child, and and with all due respect to the people that contact me, on some occasions, some of these emails I get, it's almost like I'm feeling, don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington. It's almost like they're living their psychic aspirations to their children. And I get a bit worried about that. And I usually say to people that believe that they do have children that have psychic abilities, and I say to them, you have to remember, in 9 cases out of 10, it can be the child's mind developing. It can be the way that they try to give expression to the way that they perceive the world. And in those very, very few cases where there is something there, if it's meant to develop, it will develop. And if it's not, it will fade out. And I don't think it's a terribly good idea for parents to try and live their psychic aspirations through their children. And I think it's probably best left to develop on its own. The child talks about seeing people, and hearing people. I think without this attitude to say, well, don't worry about it, because this does happen to some people, and it's nothing to be frightened of. And leave it at that. And leave it at that. If you think about, and I'm sure you've had the same experiences, if you think of all the people that have said to you, I think I've got a psychic child, and then by that time that child reaches like 12, 13, 14, the parent says, do you remember when you were a little boy, you used to see so-and-so, and the child's going to turn and say, what are you talking about? If it is meant to develop, it will develop. If it's not, then you don't try to push something that may well fade away.
Absolutely. Well, we've got to go over to the adverts now, Colin, so we shall have few minutes with the adverts, and then we shall be straight back to you.
That's fine.
Thank you very much, Colin.
That's okay.
Okay. I love live radio. I've got the L plates on, so maybe it wasn't quite straight away. So, okay, we'll keep talking for a minute then, Colin. I do apologise about that.
Okay, we'll keep talking. That's it. But I think they're calling it winging it, don't they?
Sorry?
I think they call it winging it, don't they?
That's the one. So, very quickly, have you got any more books in the pipeline?
Well, funny that you asked that. Yes, my autobiography is due out in a couple of months' time, and it's called The Happy Medium. And strangely enough, I get the final draft delivered to me by special delivery tomorrow for me to just go through it and make sure that it's absolutely correct before it goes to print.
Right, excellent. And apparently we can now go to an advert, so I shall speak to you shortly. Thank you very much.
Listening to Cosmic Radio. Cosmic Radio. Up-and-coming programs for this week. Join Jens Bergman every Monday with Secrets to My Thoughts. Join John Green every Tuesday with Open Talk. Sue Davis will be with us every Wednesday with Ask Sue. Don't miss out every Thursday with Shelley Hoffberg as she explores the metaphysical world. Cosmic Radio. Tune Youth Talk every Friday with Sean McNulty and medium John Green. Every Saturday we'll be exploring meditation and how to better your own spiritual walk. Every Sunday we will be sharing with you the best and exciting broadcasts of the week. Check your show page for times in your area. Thank you for listening to Cosmic Radio. Cosmic Radio. Cosmic Radio.
Cosmic Radio, home of the psychic, paranormal, and spiritually enlivened.
Welcome back, Sue. You're back on the air.
Hi, thank you, John. Hi, and welcome back to Cosmic Radio, and I am your host, Sue Davis, on Ask Sue, and we are welcoming back Colin to the show. Hi, Colin.
Hi, Sue.
Right, so we were just talking about your book, and you were saying you were going to be reading through it and checking it. So I was reading that you've got that coming, saying to you about that coming out. What else have you got in the pipeline, or have you got anything that you can tell us that was confidential?
Well, I've just launched earlier this year, a couple of months ago. I launched a new company called Senses by Colin Fry, which is an online business. Along with my work as a healer and a medium, I've also been very interested in complementary therapies for about 20 years, in particular aromatherapy. And because I was sort of quite appalled by the quality of products that were available and in that field, I decided to launch my own range, which is now expanded into a skincare range and candles and massage candles and giftware, and so it's grown into a much bigger project than I originally intended it to. But it's doing quite nicely, and we're getting a lot of nice positive feedback from customers that they like our products, so I'm pleased about that.
Yes. Obviously, the internet has been a great influence to you, obviously by your Facebook fans, which I've got to mention because I know you've got a lot on there who will probably be listening to the show either now or in the future. Is there things that you would like to do more of that you literally haven't got time for? I mean, for instance, I have got to promote, obviously, at my local Spiritualist church that you have offered to help, and I'll come into Ellesmere in Shropshire on the 1st of June. And the one thing that I did like is the fact that you have got such a down-to-earth, you know, we can talk about anything approach, which a lot of people, when they get into the Starlight, aren't like that. And you, to be fair, did just say, yes, that's fine, you know, we'll do you a show and we'll help the church.
If you take celebrity too seriously, the problem with it is, if you take your own celebrity too seriously, one day somebody's going to walk up to you in the street and say, didn't you used to be? And you're going to be hurt by that. So I decided, you know, that when, you know, I mean, I didn't really hit, I mean, although I was very well known in the spiritualist movement, both here and abroad, you know, the general public had no idea who I was until 11 years ago. And thankfully, it all sort of started for me at about 40. And I'm glad it happened at that time in my life, when I was old enough to be able to think, you know, I can't take this celebrity status too seriously, because at the end of the day, I am a medium and I'm a healer. And, you know, because of television and medium and everything, out of that I've become, you know, what people call a celebrity. But I can't take the celebrity status too seriously. You know, it's, you know, someone started calling me Mr. Fry the other day, and I said to her, please, dear, don't do that. My name's Colin. The only person who calls me Mr. Fry is my bank manager, and even only then he does it if he's in a good mood.
Going back to your aromatherapy and holistics products, I've got Psychic Max on the chat who wanted to know, have you got any links that you can tell them so they can go and have a look at your products?
Yes. The website is www.sensesbycolinfry.co.uk.
Right. Would you like to just repeat that one more time, Colin, just in case I've missed it?
www.sensesbycolinfry.co.uk.
That's excellent. Now, obviously, do you still go to any particular church, or have you been to any smaller churches?
Well, I've got a certain amount of loyalty to the 3 or 4 churches, only because, you know, over the years, you know, I've supported them and they've supported me. I mean, I'm very fond of a spiritualist church in Brighton called Brotherhood Gate, and I'm very involved with a spiritualist church in Three Bridges in Crawley. I served on the committee there for a while, and I've been serving at that church now probably for 20 years. And I've got a very soft spot for that particular church. I'm very fond of the congregation and the people that run Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. So there's 2 or 3 churches there that, you know, that I've got sort of quite an attachment to. But you see, this was the other strange thing that happened when television started. You know, I used to serve probably 100 churches a year all over the country. And then when television started, they stopped calling. And one church that I've said many, many times called a while back and said, you know, would you consider? And I said, well, of course I would consider. And I said, you know, but, you know, I did serve your church for many, many years. What happened? And they said, oh, well, we assumed that now that you're on television, you wouldn't do churches anymore. And I said, well, you know, assumption's a dangerous thing. You know, I had a message on Facebook just tonight, dear Colin, you know, why don't you do trance work anymore? And I just messaged back and said, I do still do trance work. And they came back and said, oh, I was told you'd given it up. And I said, well, it's always best to ask the organ grinder.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing is, like, sorry, Colin.
There's a lot of assumptions made, and they very rarely have very little to do with the fact I've never stopped serving the churches. It just during the heyday of my television work, I wasn't able to serve as many, but I never stopped.
Absolutely. Well, I must admit, after I booked you and I advertised the fact that we'd got you into Ellesmere, I had loads of messages saying to me, how did you manage that? And I said, I messaged him on Facebook. Yes, but that's not his real Facebook. I went, it really is.
Oh,
and
no,
this is the thing. I mean, let's face it, on Facebook there is groups that are on there that are making out that they are certain people and they're actually not. And people are amazed that this is somebody who's actually on Facebook answering his own questions. Does that make sense?
You know, I get this all the time. You know, people will private message me and say, is it really you?
Let me just feel my leg, yes?
Yeah, and people find it, and then sometimes when people will post on my main page and say, "Oh, I don't believe this is you. It must be a member of your management." And then the people that speak to me on a regular basis say, "No, it really is Colin."
Yeah.
The only thing that I do say to people on Facebook is, it's, and I would advise them to, with any medium, whether it's a theatre medium, whether it's a church medium, whether they're well known, or whether they're well known in their area. Please, please don't send us long letters explaining to us all the reasons why you're coming to see us and who you want coming through. And I was saying that I've just recently started doing private sittings again after many, many years. And I had a lady just only the other day sent me this letter saying, "Oh, I'm so excited, I'm booked to come and see you, and my husband blah 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 passed away and such and such, and and I'm going to make sure that I bring photographs in, and then my mother, and her name was Doris, and she passed it." And I had to write back to her and say, "Darling, I will still see you, but under normal circumstances I would say you've actually made it impossible for me to see you."
Absolutely.
And I'm saying, please, when you go along to see mediums working, please do not send letters beforehand, explaining who you want to come through. I mean, if mail comes to me at the theatres, my tour manager keeps all post back until after the show. We're getting people coming up at the shows now with photographs saying, "Oh, can you send this backstage to Colin?" And they wrote all the details on the back of the photograph of why, who this person is and why they want to come through. And then we say to them, "Please don't do that." You do not, if you're going to go and see a medium, do not give them the information. Even if you're booking for a private sitting with a medium, you should not tell them why you want the sitting, because it's the medium's role, if possible, to tell you why you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever done a reading that's been something that's come through that's made you giggle? Do you know what I mean? It's been something really just like, why on earth would they say that? Something that really stands out.
I always say that even mediums do not understand always the significance of what they're asked to say. And I was doing a show, I can't even remember where it was now, and there was a family, and it was the father coming through, and it was happy, and it was emotional, and there was laughter, and there was tears. And he started putting this information through to me, and I honestly thought that he was talking to me about a child that had passed over. And I said, "And your father wants you to know that you would be pleased as a family to know that he's found little Timothy." And they burst into fits of laughter. And I thought, why is this so funny? How can they be laughing about a child passing over? And I said, well, I'm sure there must be some reason why your father having found Timothy is so funny, but for the life of me, I have no idea what it is. And the lady that had the microphone was the eldest daughter. She said, when we were children, we had a tortoise called Timothy, and it went missing, and my dad spent 3 nights searching the neighbourhood trying to find this tortoise. But the way it came through to me, and the sincerity that it put it through to me, which was obviously the joke, was I thought I was talking about a child.
Absolutely. Now, sorry, just to interrupt, can I just say to all the listeners, if you would like to call into the show to have a question to Colin, Colin won't be doing private readings on here, but by all means, give him a call if you've got a question you'd like to ask him. You can call on 347-677-1520. That's 347-677-1520. Right, so, Colin, obviously you get loads of people wanting the private readings. How busy have you actually been with, obviously you've opened phone lines at certain times.
I managed to put aside, I only announced a couple of weeks ago that I would do private sittings again this year, and we managed to put aside 26 days. And I think, and we only take bookings between 12 o'clock noon and 2 p.m. The details can be found on my main website, which is www.colinfry.co.uk. And I think we've now got 2 days left in December.
Right.
So of those 26 days, we have filled 24 of them already.
Right.
The main reason I had to stop doing private sittings was my then manager came to me and said, "Colin, you're going to have to stop doing private sittings." And I said, well, why is that? And he said, "We have a waiting list of nearly 2 million people."
My goodness.
And for 7 years, we just had to cancel the list, sadly, and I couldn't do sittings, and then I just decided this year, this thing about me wanting, to move on, to have a change of direction. In my work as a medium, I said to my partner, I think I'm going to put some days aside to do sittings this year, but we're not going to do waiting lists or anything. Once these days are full up, we will then reopen another diary at the end of January next year, and it will basically be however many days I can put aside, and once those are filled. I don't want to be running waiting lists.
Absolutely. So obviously you must be looking forward to having that one-to-one. I mean, it must be lovely being on the stage and getting... Sorry?
I was doing readings today, actually.
Right.
I had 4 groups of people come for readings today, and it's nice. When you're relaxed in your own home environment and everything, it's quite nice to sit down and with people and God willing, get a connection for them.
Absolutely. So what's been your favourite moment in all of this, Colin? What thing? Obviously, there's been loads of different occasions and different people that you've met, but what's the one that really sticks out?
For me personally, the greatest thrill of my mediumistic career was performing at the London Palladium.
Right.
That was my own personal thrill, to actually play to perform at the Palladium. So I love that. From the point of view of communication, happened in quite a bizarre way. It was in an autograph queue at one of my shows in Edinburgh a number of years ago, and a lady came up to me in the autograph queue, and she was smiling, and I was just signing the book for her, and I just looked up at her, and I'm changing names here because I always do when I'm talking about such personal messages. And I said, I have your husband, I'm going to call him Brian, with me. And he's saying, I'm sorry I left it to the last minute, love, to come through to you, but if you do go home and take your own life tonight, that doesn't guarantee we'll be together. And she went from this happy, smiley face, and she burst into tears, and she said, how did you know? And I said, I don't, darling, but your husband does, and it's not the answer. And it was on one of those occasions where I just thought, Spirit have enabled me to save someone's life.
That is when it's on to an all different ball game, isn't it? This is the thing, you can change how people see things by the messages that are brought through from loads of different angles.
Things that move me. Again, towards the end of last year, I was in London, and I hate the Underground, but I was on the Underground, and there was a lady on the tube train, and she leant over to me and went, hello, Colin. Well, because I'm used to people saying hello. I said, oh, hello, dear. And she said, you don't remember me, do you? I said, I'm so sorry, my love, I'm afraid I don't. And I said, where do I know you from? She said, you gave me a message from my husband. And she said, and it changed my life. She said, I was so low and I wasn't having very much to do with the rest of the family. I felt so lost without him. She said, you gave me this amazing message from my husband and it changed my life. I said, oh, look, thank you. It's always pleasing to hear that. I said, and when did this happen? And she went, at the SAGB in London in 1989.
Oh, wow.
And, it's when you do get to when people come up to you in the street, and I might not have even given them a message personally. They'll come up to me and say, watching The Sixth Sense to help me through an extremely difficult time in my life, and and I just want to thank you for that. So, I'm very pleased and I suppose proud of what The Sixth Sense achieved, because I do still get hundreds of letters every month from people saying I need you to know I sit up at 3 o'clock in the morning and watch The Sixth Sense, and it's getting me through a really difficult time. And, that's always pleasing when you hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just on that note, I think I was privileged to be able to say that I was going to be interviewing you today for a start, but I think I, as well as every single fan of yours, would like to thank you for all that you've done so far. I mean, obviously I was going to leave this to the end of the interview, but you brought me into this. It's too soon, but it doesn't matter. But I think I'd like to thank you from every single fan for every message that you've given, whether it be through somebody else or just on the show or whatever, because I know that I can speak for a lot of people when you've changed how people have seen things and also not understood some things that you've been able to then put into perspective in a spiritual way, if that makes sense. You know, a lot of people have not been able to deal with passing of people, you know, when their family or their friends have passed over, and you've been able to show them that there is time after that.
I think the books that I've wrote so far, I've tried to convey this ongoing theme, you know, that as best that we can, we need to stop putting this thing we call death in such awe. You know, we're either totally in awe of the process of passing over, or we're totally terrified of it, and yet it is a process that is going to happen to every single one of us. And I remember once an elderly spiritualist said to me when I was questioning about why they got interested in spiritualism. They weren't a medium, never had any desire to be a medium, but they were passionate about the subject of spiritualism. And I said, why have you become so captivated and so involved, you know, in spiritualism and the philosophy of spiritualism? And he said, I've never been to Australia. And he said, but if I was going to go to Australia, I think I would probably want to find out a bit about the place before I went there. And I think that, you know, there's nothing morbid about wanting to know a bit more about what comes afterwards, to know where our friends and loved ones have gone and where we're going to go. And, you know, although I have friends from many cultures and many religious backgrounds, one of the things that has become apparent for me, particularly in the last 10 years, that I've been in this high-profile position, is that for many people, orthodoxy does not provide the answers for them. And it would appear that people like myself do provide them more of the answers. And I remember once, quite off of the record, where I was actually living at the time, a local parish vicar used to occasionally send people to me, but without telling me. And then one day, one lady let it slip and she said, well, actually, it was the local vicar that sent me to see you. So the next time I saw him in the street, you know, I stopped him and I said, look, you know, it's very kind of you to send people to me, but can I ask you, you know, why, as a vicar, are you sending some of your bereaved congregation to me? And he said to me, I thought it was so profound, he said, young man, he said, I can speak about it, only someone like you can speak to them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I thought for someone who was an Anglican vicar and would probably have been in a huge amount of trouble had his bishop ever found out, you know, that he was sending people to me for readings, I thought it was quite a profound thing for him to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously there's a lot of people that, how can I put this, would love to be in your shoes as far as where you've got, but not just that, to be a psychic medium in your thing. Now, I know there's a lot of psychic mediums in the country that are, you know, developing and they're in circles, etc. What can you advise them, Colin, to be able to develop themselves more?
I can only advise, really, for them to follow a similar path to the one, you know, that I followed. It's if you start off thinking that working as a psychic medium or a spiritualist medium is going to make you rich and famous, then you're very much mistaken. You know, it's you have to be committed to the principle of what the work is about, and the work is about helping people. It is about healing lives. It is about using a gift that you have been given by God, however you understand God, to help and to heal. And if you get to the position where you have to make your living out of it, then you are permitted to make a fair living out of it. You know, as my autobiography will show, people think that I've become hugely rich out of this. The fact of the matter is that the vast majority of the money that I've made in my time in the spotlight, I have given away. I've left myself enough to have a relatively comfortable life. The vast majority of it I've given away, or I've used on spiritual projects for things that I thought would help a spiritual or spiritualist community. So it's never been my intention to become hugely rich out of it, and I certainly haven't. And I advise all of the young people, hold down a normal, everyday 9-to-5 job and practice your mediumship, your healing, whatever, in your evenings, your days off, your holidays, and take bookings from the spiritualist churches, spiritualist centres, get out and serve an apprenticeship. Make sure that you are sitting in a development circle, even in those formative years that you are actually still that you're actually demonstrating or doing sitting. Stay in a development circle, and and let other people tell you that you are good at what you're doing. Never assume that you're good yourself. I work on the principle that any medium is only as good as the last message they gave. And be your own harshest critic.
Yeah. Have you ever been somewhere, Colin, and, have you ever watched other mediums and sat there and cringed and thought, how did you arrive at that?
Many times. Many times.
Okay, and have you ever had somebody who will come to you after to almost ask what you thought of them?
Sadly, yes. And I try always to be kind. And I have to actually say, there are some very, very good young mediums out there at the moment. But I'm always reminded of what the older lady that helped me develop said to me when I asked her at 17 what makes a good medium. And she looked at me and she said, darling, you need to have had some joy in your life. You need to have had a lot of pain. And you need some grey hair. Now, at 17, I thought it was the most patronising thing anybody had ever said to me. But, I'm just short of 50 now, and I've had the joy, and my God, have I had the pain. And I've got the grey hair, and I know what she means.
Yeah.
And so, although I would never discourage young mediums, I would say to them, do remember that when you're working and you are conveying sometimes some extremely raw and extremely sensitive human situations, you may well be at 17, 18, 19, 20. You never have been in that position in your life. And, just be as sensitive as you possibly can be as you convey the message, I've seen some mediums working, and it's not that they've been wrong. It's just that they have been so incredibly insensitive in how they've put the information across. It has hurt more than it has healed.
Yeah.
And, I've been an advocate for a very, very long time now, and often not with a great deal of popularity, that in mediumship development there should be some basic training of counselling as well. And I do think that is an ancillary skill that certainly professional mediums should look into as well. That they should, at least have some basic understanding of how they should put a message across. You either have a choice. You can either be a very good technical medium and know and put across all the facts and figures, but if there is no sensitivity in it and no sense of caring for the person that you are giving the message to and for the person that you're giving the message for, we might as well just be a psychic texting service.
Yeah, absolutely. Right then, Colin, we're going to go for a short break. I'd just like to thank everybody that's actually on the chat who's just saying to say hello to you, and they're going to be here after the break. So we'll go to the break and we'll be back to you.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Listening to Cosmic Radio. Cosmic Radio. Up-and-coming programs for this week. Join Jens Bergman every Monday with Secrets to My Thoughts. Join John Green every Tuesday with Open Talk. Sue Davis will be with us every Wednesday with Ask Sue. Don't miss out every Thursday with Shelley Hartberg.
the psychic,
You know that music, isn't it now? I can't hear it.
spiritually enlivened.
Right, Sue, we're back on the air.
And welcome back to Cosmic Radio with Ask Sue. And we've also got our special guest, Colin Fry. Hi, Colin.
Hello, Sue.
And we're back again for round 3.
I know. It's the time between the commercial breaks seems to go so quickly.
It does. I can't believe it. Right, I've actually got a few people on the chat, so I'd just like to say if anybody on the chat would like to ask a question over the chat, by all means type it on and I can read it over to Colin, or you can call into the studio as well. Let me just get the number. As you can see, everybody, I've got the L plates on, so you have to just bear with me. It's 347-677-1520. That's 347-677-1520. Right then, Colin. So let's go now to a bit more personal. Obviously, you're with Mike, and obviously very happy because even when I've spoken to you on the phone on a couple of occasions, you've got a lovely glow about the pair of you. So how long have you and Mike been together?
We've been together for 7 years, and we have been in a civil partnership for 6.
Right, lovely. And so was it literally straight away together and?
Oh no! I mean, we were friends for a year. I'd been in prior to meeting Mike. I dissolved a 22-year relationship back in 2002, and for various reasons, you know. And I decided at 40 that was it. You know, I'd done the partnership thing. I'd been in a partnership since I was 16, 17, and I just decided, no, that's it. Now it's the single life for me now. And then a few years later, I met Mikey, and I say we were just friends for a year, and then my closest friend turned around to me one day and said, "You do realise this guy's mad about you, don't you?" I went, "No, I'm not getting involved with a younger man. Absolutely not." And a year later, we were at the registry office and signing the legal documents.
Right. So, obviously, you've got a very busy life and obviously don't have 5 minutes to yourself almost. Do you get, when you do your quality time, is it hard for you to switch off from your busy life as being the medium and giving messages? Is it hard to walk down the street together?
When I get home from having been on a run of tour dates, for the first 24 hours that I'm home, Mikey just leaves me alone. I'm very quiet and don't really want to talk to anybody and a bit moody. And then after the first 24 hours that I'm home, then we get back into normal domestic life, you know.
Yeah.
You know, Mikey will very occasionally come to the shows with me and sell the books and everything. And a lady came up to him last year and she said, "It must be wonderful. I bet Colin gives you messages all the time." And he said, "We don't talk about Colin's work at home, you know, other than in general terms. You know, I think it's very important, you know, when you, in whatever genre you're in, but when you're working with something very intensely, and of course working with mediumship, you know, there's a huge emotional element to it as well. I think it's very important that home life gives you a break from that. That you do lead a normal domestic life. You know, I say to people, yes, you know, people are often surprised when they see me in the supermarket. I had one lady say to me, she said, "You do your own shopping?" And I said, "Well, there's no one else to do it, love." You know, and you know, yes, I do have a housekeeper because I'm away quite a lot. But you know, I'm still quite capable of, you know, cooking a meal. I'm still quite capable of throwing a load of washing into the washing machine. Hello.
Okay. I think that's...
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Cosmic Radio with Ask Sue and Colin. Have you got a question?
Oh, ominous silence.
She wants you to read what the question was.
That's right.
numbers as well.
Sorry, there?
I said I was going to ask you the winning lottery ticket numbers as well.
You get that as well. You know, oh, can you tell me the lottery numbers? You know, no, I can't tell you the lottery numbers because if I knew the lottery numbers, I'd have won it myself by now. You know?
Right, do we have the caller on the line?
I don't think we do.
No, I think she's
Hi,
gone.
Sue. Hi, Sue. Hi, Colin.
Hello.
How are you doing? This is actually the producer, John, asking. I've been dying to ask you a question all night.
Please do.
You've spent, as you've been talking about your private life and been on tour, the thing is that what do you find for yourself, especially in between tours and being at home, a quiet time for yourself? What is the best thing that you enjoy doing?
Well, we're coming up to that time of the year where I like to potter in the garden. I have to tell you, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. You know, I work on this policy. If it looks like a weed, pull it out. If it looks like a plant, leave it in. But I do like pottering around the garden. I can't confess to having green fingers, but I do like to potter around the garden. And the last couple of years we've put vegetables and things in and just hoped that they would grow. Last year we had the most amazing crop of strawberries. I have no idea why. They just kept growing and growing and growing. And we didn't even do anything particularly special. So I'm sort of a potluck gardener, and I quite enjoy that. Obviously, I like to spend time with our dogs as well. And then last year we got chickens, so we've got 7 chickens and a cockerel. I do like the domestic life, and I love cooking when I have the time.
And also, with your, do you find that doing this creates a lot of inspiration for your books, for material that you want to share when you're on your tours and when you are doing the work you're doing?
Well, strangely, I've just done I used to be the problems page columnist for Psychic News a number of years ago, and I've just been invited to go back and write for them again now that it's been relaunched. And this is one of the questions that was put to me in that interview that I've done with them to launch my new column. They're saying, you started your life as a church medium, and then moved into this arena of working for vast numbers of people, anything up to 3,000 people in theatres. Do you try to introduce any spiritualist philosophy into your demonstrations? And the way that I thought that I would do that without sort of ramming the whole subject down people's throats was, I decided a number of years ago that during my evenings I would do a short question and answer session. And that gives me the opportunity to talk a little bit about spiritualist philosophy, my spiritual beliefs, to people. So yes, I do try to introduce, spiritualist philosophy, into my demonstrations without sort of really forcing it upon people. And I think my books as well, although I would say, in the broadest possible sense, my books have been spiritual books. I've also tried to make them counselling books as well. My first book was called Life Before Death. And although I included examples of messages that I've given over the years, the book was really geared towards, getting people to try and live a life in preparation for the fact is that our physical life is a journey towards our spiritual life, our life when we will no longer be physical. So I do try to introduce spiritualist philosophy into my stage shows and also into my books, yes.
And another question I'd love to ask, have you ever been to Africa? As you can hear by my accent, I'm South African, and have you ever been to Africa or South Africa?
No, I haven't. There have been talks about me going to South Africa, but the challenge that I have with international touring is it takes an awful lot of organising, and the likes of South Africa. I mean, although I'm quite well known in Australia, I'm very well known in New Zealand. I don't feel as I'm so well known in South Africa. So if I was going to go out and do some demonstrations in South Africa, I would probably have to combine it with a private trip as well.
Well, can I just say, as a South African, you are very well known. You're very well.
Thank you very much.
You're very well spoken about art in South Africa, and I know that your books are all over South Africa. And when I'm communicating back to South Africa, and just said, because I had been to quite a few of your shows, and they have just said, they would so love to have you out there. So maybe you should have a look at that.
What he really wants, Colin, he wants to come with you.
I'm being a little bit naive about this. You see. I didn't even know that my TV work was shown in South Africa. I knew it was shown in Australia. I know it's been shown in New Zealand. And apparently I was told a little while back it was even shown in Zimbabwe, which surprised me. But I didn't know that it had been shown in South Africa.
What I think here, Colin, is that with YouTube and the internet and Facebook, there's so many different medias of getting you.
Oh, of course. Yes, of course.
So I think this is also one of the things that's one needs to have a look at. But definitely, I know.
Well, maybe in 2013, I'll have to look at making a trip to South Africa.
Well, I think you would love it. If you love Australia and New Zealand, you're going to love South Africa as well, and you will be very well received.
No, I will speak to my agent tomorrow and say, start packing the wardrobe. We're off to South Africa.
Yoo-hoo!
I am strangely. For many years, I had a love affair with Mallorca, and I love Mallorca. And strangely, on the 4th of May, I'm flying out to Palma to do a show in Mallorca, a one-night show in Mallorca. So I do get invited to sort of to go abroad. I remember a number of I don't know why this come to mind, but I remember a number of years ago. I was in my old house. It was my days between my last partnership and my current partnership, and the phone started ringing, and I picked up the phone. There was this very, very excited American gentleman. And he said, my name is so-and-so, as if I should know who he was, and frankly, I didn't know who he was. And he said, there are plane tickets waiting for you at Heathrow Airport. I want you to get on a plane tomorrow. I've got some of the biggest names in Hollywood together that want to meet you. And I went, I'm sorry. I said, but I'm working tomorrow. I have clients tomorrow. I have people coming for sittings. And he went, Candid, you have to come. And I ended up actually getting quite irritated with him that he thought that I could be bought so easily. That I was supposed to be impressed by the idea that I was going to go out and meet all these Hollywood bigwigs, He was very, very surprised, when I said, I'm sorry, but it's just not going to happen. But no, it's strange. South Africa's come up in conversation a number of times about going to work out in South Africa. But I suppose that's a little bit of me, that I never assume that I'm known anywhere, And so, but yes, I'm quite happy to work wherever I'm asked to work, time permitting.
Well, I look forward to seeing you out, and so I'll be heading out at the end of the year, so I'll look forward to seeing you if you are there. So I'll keep a lookout on that. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I think there you should compare notes with John, because you actually could have a tour guide there. Colin, play your cards right.
I'm in for that. I'm definitely in for that.
I may well take you up on that.
well, if he's going for tour guide, I'm going for the bag carrier.
I'm a bag carrier, yes. Well, I think I'll have to join the queue, my love, of about 700 people else that have said, if you ever go so-and-so, I'll carry your bags for you.
I can imagine this chat is going to go mad in a minute with loads of other people applying too. Oh, dear. So, Colin, obviously we're getting very close to time now, and obviously you want to go and chill out after your busy day today. Very lastly, if there was anything you could actually arrange for your future, what would it be? As in, what would you like to do in the future? Is there something that you've got as a goal, or...?
I want to become a minister. This has been something that's been on my mind for quite a long time now. I'm a member of the United Spiritualists. I have made an application to them to become a minister and to start my minister training. And it's something I've had a very strong feeling about now for a number of years, that I want to become a minister. I mean, over the years I've conducted many, many funeral services. I've conducted blessings. I've done namings. For those of you that don't know what a naming is the spiritualist version of a christening. I've also done a lot of work in hospices where I've sat with people in their final moments. And I really feel that I would like to do that officially now. And I'm also very much want to, as a minister, become a prison visitor as well. And I just feel as though that's the next dimension of my work as a medium and as a healer, that I want to go into the ministry side of it now.
That sounds lovely. It's lovely to be able to look into the future and be able to look for them goals. Is there anything that you've actually feel that you missed out on within your past? Is there anything you wish you'd have done? Or done differently even?
When you ask me that, there's a film which was a stage play that I absolutely love. It's called Torch Song Trilogy. And there's one line in it where the main character says, my problem has always been being young and beautiful. I've been young and I've been beautiful, but the two never seem to have met. And so when you ask a question like that, you can't have regrets about what you didn't do or what you didn't achieve. I think that's for many, many years as a spiritualist tutor, I've advocated to people positive thinking, and I think too many people sadden their lives by, I didn't do this, I should have done that, and they don't look at what they have done. And so I'm not saying that someone said to me when I started to write my autobiography, would you change anything? And I said, no. The good, the bad, and the indifferent, I would go through it all again, because it has made me the person that I am. I would make the same mistakes. I would achieve the same small goals. I'd have the setbacks. And I would do it all exactly the same again, because I wouldn't want to be any different a person than what I've become.
Well, Colin, I know we're getting near to the end now. Firstly, I just want to read a few of the messages that have come on to the radio chat. Bill Ray, my partner actually, has put a proper gent and an all-round nice guy. Betty's put, Colin is hugely endearing. I haven't heard him before. What an absolute sweetie. And she also has put a bit further down, do they need a translator on the trip? I told you there would be applications coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Colin, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on Cosmic Radio with Ask Sue. Thank you ever so much for coming on to the show. I hope everything that you look for in the future comes to you, because you have definitely worked wonders with a lot of people, and you definitely deserve it anyway.
Could I just finish by just leaving a message for everybody? If I had a message for all your listeners, and it's a very old adage, but I just think it's one that sums up how we should approach our lives, both physically and spiritually.
Yep, certainly.
And wake up and start each day as if it's your first, and live it as if it's your last.
Definitely so. I actually,
if anybody said to me, what is the secret of life, I was told that particular one years and years ago, and I just think it sums up everything that we should try as spiritual beings to be. Start each day as if it's your first, and live it as if it's your last.
Absolutely. Do you know what, as you said that, something just came into my head, which I must just say now that it's popped into my head. When I was at school, I had a headmaster who was a brilliant teacher, and he wrote in my autograph book, and he put, if everybody was to put their problems in a heap and equally share them out, we would only be too glad to take back our own.
I like that one as well.
Isn't it funny? Something so simple can stick in your mind. I mean, that's not that many years ago, obviously, since I left school. But, do you know what I mean? And just something that can just make a point.
My head of year said to me on my last day at school, said, Fry, you'll become nothing. And I'm quite pleased with the fact that I've been a nothing all of my life.
I take it you have sent him a book to prove this.
Sorry?
I take it you've sent him a book to prove it.
Well, when my autobiography comes out in June, so you'll see that I hated school from the day I started to the day I left.
Yeah, jinx with that one, because I was exactly the same.
Yes. But you have to say that to young people. You have to say to them, no, school's the most wonderful time of your life, and enjoy it and learn as much as you can. And, of course, the truth of the matter is you learn more about life at the moment you've thrown away your school time than you ever learn when you're there.
Exactly. Right, well, Colin, thank you ever so much for talking to me. I really do appreciate you taking the time out. Please go and chill out the rest of this evening with Mike. Thank you ever so much, Colin.
And I wish you all the success with your future series. So.
Cheers. Thank you ever so much, Colin.
You take care now, my darling. God bless.
Thank you.
My darling. Bye.
Bye-bye. Right, thank you everybody for joining the show with Ask Sue. Thank you very much to my special guest, Colin Fry. I'd also like to take a very quick minute just to say thank you very much to John, our producer, who has helped me no end, because I am not a computer expert, and he's helped me loads and loads. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much to everybody on the chat radio as well. And I will be here next week talking to clairvoyant Greg Smith, who's from Bournemouth. He's on Facebook, and I'm also on Facebook myself. If you'd like to have a look on there, I will be on the chat for a few more minutes. And also, the next song that will be coming